Forget the old school thrills of F1, the family charm of Freakier Friday, and even the surprisingly pro-life Fantastic Four First Steps, because this summer's feel-good movie turns out to be an August sleeper hit that virtually nobody saw coming. Hey everybody, I'm Steve Green with Bill Whittle and Scott Ott, and this is Right Angle, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. Gentlemen, Kamala's Revenge, it's a story of a failed presidential candidate who raised record amounts of money, left record debt, lost the election anyway, then gave her party the finger when it needed her most. It's one of those razor-sharp political comedies that I don't think Hollywood's dared to make since 1997's Wag the Dog. So here's the premise of the thing. You probably saw all this in the trailer. The vice president is totally inept. She's a DEI hire. But when the president, who's really senile, is forced out of his reelection campaign, she finds herself with just barely over 100 days to scrape together a presidential campaign and $1.5 billion to spend, and just 100 days to spend it. Wow. So, as I said, you probably saw that in the trailer, but I saw the whole movie earlier this week, and what happens next is going to shock you. It turns out Kamala didn't just raise the $1.5 billion. She spent it all, left her party millions in debt, and in the movie, the bad guys, led by this weird orange dude, end up with like $80 million in the bank, but Kamala's party has just $15 million plus all the debts. And according to this site called Axios in the movie, some donors have grown reluctant to give her party more money, even as they try to pivot to the midterm elections. Now, Scott, I really enjoyed watching Kamala's Revenge, but do you think this story is just too far out there for audiences?
Can I just interrupt? I'm so sorry.
Sure.
You are so superb at dry humor. I really do not know whether or not there is a movie called Kamala's Revenge.
There is no movie.
We hate to ruin the surprise.
All right.
So yeah, and he had me going, frankly, for quite a lot of that. I do think that you may be downplaying the significance of this movie. After all, Steve, it is starring the most attractive attorney general in the country, and that rave
That's
review
a low
was
bar to
submitted
clear
by Barack Obama years ago. This is. It sounds like it was one of those burn the ships moments, but she burned the ships before she got to the territory that she wanted to claim.
I'm going to die.
They burned their ships a mile offshore so that they couldn't return.
That's right.
Oh my God, that's the best thing I've heard in a long time, Scotty.
It's painful.
Oh my God.
And here's what's going to happen is because.
Sorry, I just can't help it. All the Saxons are lined up on the shore. They're getting ready for the Norman invasion, and out there on the horizon, there's nothing but a sheet of flames. Just thousands of burning boats on their way in.
And what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to throw her under the bus over and over and over again if they're going to get their donors back, because they've got to go to people and go, look, the mistakes were made, but not by me. There were a lot of mistakes made here, and we should never have picked that neophyte who couldn't, win a single state when she was running on her own. So it's not an institutional problem with the party. They're going to have to say it is the consequence of one bad apple, who is Kamala Harris. And so, what else do you do? If you let it go beyond her, then you have to acknowledge that the party is complicit and actively engaged. It's a unindicted co-conspirator, so to speak, in the destruction of the party. And this is going to have long-term consequences. Now, politicians and political parties are quite adept at being able to sweep things under the rug and pretend that they woke up on a brand new planet every day. And so I don't doubt that they can find a way to play this that saves their bacon. But it's got to be an ugly scene. And if you're a Democratic consultant or somebody who's trying to go and get those big dollar donors now, what are you going to say to them? Yeah, we pissed away all your money and we lost the election and also we're deeply in debt. Can you help us get out of debt?
Yeah, and okay, I got to tell you, the movie really goes off the rails. I mean, it didn't for me because I like this sort of absurdist humor, but the party is going totally off the rails. They're like protesting removing illegal aliens for the country who have, beaten their wives. They're trying to let bearded guys in dresses into the little girls' room. I mean, the party is just completely off the rails, and they don't understand why they're searching the sofa cushions for money. And so they go back to Kamala and they beg her for her donor list so they can hold more fundraisers with these big money guys. But this Axios site found that the total money raised from these events based on her mailing list has been disappointing. So they go back to Kamala directly. And here's where she gets a revenge. They go back to Kamala and they ask her to personally hold these fundraisers, like the kind she did during the election, and she tells them no. Axios says, and this is a quote, her team believes she's done her part. Bill, the movie has to be at least a little believable, doesn't it?
Well, I've dealt with movie pitches a few times in my life and had to deal with potential movie investors. So if I was a potential investor in the Democratic Party, I would say, so what exactly is going on here? And the Democrats are saying, it's a soft reboot. The idea is great.
Yeah.
Okay. We had a couple of problems with the execution, but the idea is great. So if I'm an investor, I'm going to say, all right, so this new film that you want me to fund, is this a tragedy or a comedy? And they say yes. And then you say, well, the movie tanked because the lead was so unappealing. So what are we going to do to fix the major problem? And then the Democratic producers say, don't worry. We've got this problem absolutely solved. We've got here America's ingenue, America's sweetheart. AOC, come on out and take a bow. And yes, this is the answer.
Where it's headed.
That's where it's headed. And I don't think people will be, I don't think money people will be that stupid again. And it's not a question of what the general perception is, because last I heard, Kamala was, and it's been a while, was the front runner for the Democrats. Newsom, have you seen Newsom trying to mock, trying to reproduce Trump's tweets all in capital
I wrote
letters?
a column about this.
It's
and
beyond
it went
parody.
gangbusters. It's so out there.
It like resets all of your circuits watching Gavin Newsom in all seriousness trying to be Donald Trump with tweets. So the point I'm trying to make here is that if they're going for money for a remake because the first one tanked, there is nothing different about the remake. It's not like they're saying, yes, we had Kamala Harris, but when we come back, we're going to have Brad Pitt, and he's going to have machine guns, and he's going to, kick down doors, okay, well, that sounds a little more appealing. No, it's just we've got a younger, stupider version of a stupid person, and this one's going to work. They're in real trouble. And they're in real trouble all across the board. Their voter registration is down. The most shocking statistic I've heard, which is largely related to the pop culture, but is big deal. I really actually almost can't believe these numbers. But I saw reported yesterday that young white males, do you know how many percentage points they've moved to the right since 2020?
Oh, it's like 30, isn't it?
It's 44.
44. Good Lord.
44. So the Democrats have always had, forget the branding, they've always had this mental consolation that they can give themselves when they crater. That, well, young people are Democrats and Republicans are going extinct and we're on the right side of history and all the rest of this stuff. And what's got to scare the living daylights out of the Democratic Party, because it scares the living daylights out of actual movie executives at Disney who are saying, what do we do to get young men back? We don't understand why young men don't watch our movies anymore so they can get more lectures from girl bosses about how incompetent and evil men are. None of this is going to change, Steve, until they change the script. And the script isn't changing. And what's more is the script, they're not capable of writing a script that the American people want to see, the Democrats. They do not have any writers on board who can write that kind of script. And until they fired their entire writing staff, they're looking at a slate of failures that is going to extend for as long as there's any money left in the bank.
Wow. All right. Well, folks, I know I've just given you a whole bunch of spoilers thanks to that Axios report, which, by the way, is real. They published that Monday evening. But I got to spoil the next thing because I saw a treatment from a buddy of mine in Hollywood for the sequel, Kamala's Revenge 2, Electric Boogaloo. And in that movie, we're going to find out that she was a mole for the bad orange guy all along.
Kamala's Revenge 2, Electric Bungler.
You're right. That's much better. Anyway, thanks for watching. This has been Right Angle with Steve Green. That's me, Scott Otten, Bill Whittle, those guys. And we'll see you next time.